Y'all, did you see that for Mother's Day, they are naming the biggest deadbeat dads in this one town? It's like, Happy Mother's Day, pay her, shame these men into paying her. In fact, I want to show a couple of examples of like, hell yeah, in terms of supporting mothers out there. But honestly, one of the most disturbing things that I have realized just in the last few years on social media, doing what I do and learning from my mutuals, is that I feel lucky that I had a single mom. Like, I swear to God, I thought this whole time I was missing out on something. And it doesn't mean I didn't. And it doesn't mean that my mom didn't struggle a lot to raise two children completely on her own. But A, I was lucky that my dad paid child support. Wow, I didn't realize I should be grateful that happened, because so many of these men don't, or that he didn't try to fight her so that he could have custody of us so he wouldn't have to pay child support while also not wanting to parent. Because I didn't realize that's a thing too. A lot of men only want custody so they don't have to pay any money. Or if she makes more money, to get her to have to pay him to not parent, because they're not going to do anything. They just don't want to pay. And they actually see, Britney Spears kind of situation. Kevin, what's his butt? But I tell you what, when women talk, man, we learn so much. So much. Because even though women are financially devastated by divorce, the single moms are one of like the most highest percentages of people in poverty. God, I just can't imagine the experience of living, if I was raised by a single married mom. And that was my example. I didn't realize how lucky I was, honestly, to grow up with a woman who did not send her men in my house, or didn't have to like be talked down to by a man who hates her, but won't leave without it being in a crazy way, like an affair or just screwing her somehow. Like, I am so glad I didn't have that example. Let me just show y'all how I think the tides are changing, even though regardless of how much they like the extinction burst kind of thing that's happening. I want to show a couple of examples. I mean, I still can't, there's a part of me, it's like, this can't be real. I don't know, maybe I'm too much of a pessimist. Actually, I am not a pessimist. I'm more of a realist, but apparently, allegedly in Suffolk, because this was on like a news thing, but I don't know. Sometimes with AI right now, I am so scared of all information. But Suffolk County or whatever, crackdown on deadbeat dads owning thousands in child support ahead of Mother's Day. So if this is real, like, this one dude owes $422,000. But anyway, look at this list. Now, I don't know. As much as I'm not like, yay, police, yay, like whatever. I don't trust their motives usually for anything, incarcerating anybody at this point. But I guess it's the energy behind this that I appreciate. It's like, hey, let's publicly shame all these fathers who brought children into the world but refused to take care of them. Coulda worn a condom, bro. Coulda worn a condom. Now, I did look into this, and this account, She Writes to Live, is the one who posted it. So she says it's her hometown. So it seems legit to me. And the thread was really interesting because there is some nuance to this conversation. Like this one, the gag is that Long Island is where white folks swear they are above it. Meanwhile, they go out, they're actually chasing their baby daddies with the best of them. And I love this point too. The cops are having fun until they start making that list. And this is my favorite comment. This is when being an abolitionist is the hardest, because I'm cackling and saying yes while also knowing this is awful because the system is trash, but also get them. That's my favorite comment. Then I also wanted to point out this. Olivia Howell, I just started following her recently because her posts about divorce are really like spot on. And she talks about this. After my divorce, I searched for a registry to help rebuild my life. It didn't exist, so we created it. Fresh Starts, the world's first divorce registry. So this leads me to a conversation that I really think this is where we need to go. All right? Because a lot of women really can't leave because they don't, like, it's too much. Like, some women are so financially screwed because they have been baby trapped by men, or men have just been hiding money, lying about money, or convincing them to not work, right? So that they can control them. And the women desperately want to get out, but they have no money. I know some women in this situation. They're not close friends, but when we were talking, because I don't want to be like, hey, just watch my content. Sometimes don't give advice that I'm not asked for. But I was like, just curious, do you have like any money at all? No. But she was thinking of ways she could make money. And every time she tried to make money, like having a garage sale or anything, he would sabotage it somehow. He would not move the stuff out into the garage or like just something, I swear. And a lot of men have hidden debt. A lot of men have gambling debt. That is a big one. I actually want to make a video on that soon. Let me know if you want to hear it. The gambling debt crisis is coming. It's here. It is so big, y'all. If you are married to men or attached to men, you need to keep an eye on their finances, because there are so many men who are just, it's so easy to bet. So they're spending money on their hobbies or betting or whatever. Y'all know I talk about hobbies all the time. So I love this energy of us starting to think, how do we just get out of this mess? How do we help other women get out of this mess? Because without money, you don't have choices. And that is why they so badly want to make it so we can't, to ban abortion, to no fault divorce, and just keep attacking all of the ways that women have financial freedom. Because without financial freedom, you can't choose to do shit. So the trad wife movement is propaganda, okay? And if you decide to stay home with your children, make him pay you. Get money. Without money, you will never be able to leave. He can do whatever he wants, cheat, whatever, anything he wants, and you cannot leave. So, but still, this is the direction. This is her page. She has all this information. Because honestly, right after Mother's Day is when like a lot of women are so disappointed by Mother's Day. It's usually right after Christmas and right after Mother's Day. They're like, wow. Like, they're stunned by how selfish these men can be. Even like Christmas, okay, whatever. Okay. But Mother's Day? When Mother's Day, women are doing more on Mother's Day. Even work, they don't even get that day off. I think that is the day where some of them are like, he forking hates me. Here, this is the page. It's called Fresh Starts. Fresh Starts. Just go on. This is on Threads. Google it. Whatever. Now you got the resource. Because here's the thing. A lot of women end up either baby trapped by men, or they end up with men who say they don't want kids, and they pull this thing. This woman posted, I went on a date with a man that said he didn't have children when we first met a while ago. Go to dinner. He responded again saying yes and no. The baby is due at the end of the month. So this man was already dating. Y'all, like there are so many stepmothers out there who became mothers. They didn't know they're going to be a mother. They're a stepmother. You know, they thought that they were just, and I'm not saying some stepmoms are not complicit in like wanting, like whatever. We know there's plenty of like awful stepmoms. And there's a lot of women out there who are being, forced into being stepmoms by being tricked by a lot of these men who are getting divorced or leaving women or whatever. And they don't want to actually parent their children. So the stepmom is literally going to be a parent, a mom when the kid is with him, because he doesn't want to do any of that. But she has no legal protection. She has like no rights. She is like never will fully socially be accepted as a parent. So if he leaves her, she has no rights to that child. And this happens a lot. There are also men out there, like the way that men, like this Mother's Day story. There are so many Mother's Day stories. Sometimes it's the presents. Sometimes it's the fact that this story. Sorry, it took me a second to find it. This story, oh God. This is so common, okay? This is what a lot of women are going to experience today. Now, it's not Mother's Day everywhere. It's not Mother's Day here in France, but it is in like Finland, Germany, the United States, a bunch of other places. So wherever you are, this is what's happening today in a lot of these places. Mother's Day weekend, I rented a fancy hotel room on the beach with my mom and I on Saturday night. We'd planned a big family brunch for noon on Sunday, okay? So the hotel room is for her and her mom. Sunday, a brunch. At 7 a.m., I was awoken by a knock on the door. It was my then husband. So this story is probably one of the reasons why she's not with him. My then husband with our cranky toddler. He wanted to surprise me with donuts and our son, and is still completely mystified. Our son is still completely mystified about how incredibly angry I was about it. Of course, right? Kids don't get it. Kids don't see what dad is doing. Dad didn't want to be with his own children. So on her one night at a hotel room, whatever, imagine being woken up at 7 a.m. on Mother's Day because your husband doesn't want to babysit his own child for a couple hours. Surprise, I got donuts. When I tell you, these men are so smart. They may be dumb as rock, but they're so smart. They know how to exploit labor. So there's that story. Then there's this story right here. Scene at a Walgreens checkout line. Man in front of me looks me up and down and smiles saying, "Oh, you look like trouble. Give me your number, beautiful." This man was buying diapers and a Mother's Day card for his wife. I smiled at him and asked his name and for his number. He eagerly gave me both. I took his number down, his full name, this one is an idiot, and let him flirt a bit more. I tell him I text him later, and if he didn't have any plans, we could get together tonight. He said he didn't have plans after 10 and he'd be waiting. It took me 2 minutes to find him on Facebook. I now have access to his wife, his mom, and his 2 sisters. It's his wife's first Mother's Day. Doesn't take long, y'all. I'm spiteful and I've got time today. I will be flirty texting this man to see how far he takes it, and I will be sending all of those receipts to the women in his family. Don't mess with women. I love this comment. So you look like trouble and he wants trouble and you're going to give him trouble. I guess it's consensual. Someone asked how the cashier thought about that. Oh my God, she was older and gave me a judgy look. And once he left, I told the lady what I was going to do. And she said, "Oh, thank God, I thought you were a dumb bitch." I also want to point out something is that a lot of mothers today are going to be tortured by their abusive exes because they share children with. Victims of DV are the only victims who, if they have children, are forced to communicate with their assailants weekly, daily, and judged by how nice they are about it. And this story right here is a perfect example. This woman, you can pause if you want to read the whole thing. Basically, her ex-husband gave their 8-year-old son a smartwatch and connected it to his phone so he can track the son, the location, monitor his steps, calories, sleep, and stress level, which is basically like total invasion of the son's privacy. And here's the kicker, though. He expected the son to wear the watch whenever he was with her. So really, the watch is more about surveillance of the mom. And then when she said, "No, we're not doing that," he got all upset, right? But this is what abusers do. They will manipulate the children to undermine a healthy boundary, turning loyalty into a weapon of control. Then there's other like milder stories like this that are just women being like, no. Like their husbands are so, anytime their husbands try to push for like, I don't feel like, no. My husband told me when it's Father's Day, he wants the same energy he's giving me for Mother's Day. I asked him when our son's next field trip was. He kissed me and walked away. Because this is what's going on here. The amount of threads I'm seeing with husbands and male partners saying that they want the same energy for Mother's Day, but don't know their kid's doctor's name, their sizes, their clothing sizes, their shoe sizes, their eye color even, their teachers, what they ate for dinner the prior nights, any of their friends, the kids' friends' names, even the name of the school their child goes to. We've seen all these like interviews, right? That is crazy. So for them to expect the same energy on Father's Day, no. And that's when I'm telling you that these men, like, they don't even have to be like red pilled for them. That entitlement comes out all the time. But I believe that because of the Scott Galloways and the Hubermans and all of these men who are out there talking about fitness and whatever, so many men are making ridiculous talking points mainstream. So a lot of men are just like, wait, we're celebrating women now? And they'll start being like, wait a second, what about dads? What about the loneliness crisis? What about blah, blah, blah? And they'll pull this stuff. No. Because here is the reality of Mother's Day. This is back to the Olivia House post. Mother's Day is BS. One day off isn't going to long-term solve maternal mental health issues and burnout. But you know what would? Systemic change at a cellular level, domestic equity, and talking about topics like the invisible load, weaponizing competence, and the default parent. That is what would support moms. Not one day without wiping a butt. Because again, even on Mother's Day, men will be like, what do you want me to do? Tell me what I need to do on Mother's Day so you can rest. Anytime they're asking you to make a list, they are asking for cognitive labor. It's time, it's labor, it's you having to use your brain and do something so he can help you. No. By the way, this divorce registry is not just for divorced people. And I know a lot of people who follow me are not married or divorced. They're single. So look at this. There is a registry for all life transitions. Many single people build registries too. I mean, it's basically like mutual aid. But what sucks is that getting married and having children is like the thing that people are like, here's money to get you started. But divorce or major life stuff, that is when a lot of women need way more support. And if you don't ever have kids or get married, like, you got no excuse. I mean, there's the whole Sex and the City episode about that. But these registries, like the divorce registry, for instance, is this. It's just a way for friends and family, anyone who cares, to think fresh sheets, cozy blankets, kitchen essentials. It's a celebration of new beginnings, because starting over deserves just as much support as starting together. I love that. It's practical things people need, but also like emotional support. And finally, some final thoughts about Mother's Day. You know, there's a lot. This is like a very hard holiday for so many people. There's all the moms who are being neglected or just not appreciated today because the men in their lives suck, right? There are people who've lost their moms. There are mothers maybe who've lost their children. There are people who have had fertility issues, who've had miscarriages. There are people who are no contact with their mom. It is such a hard day for a lot of people. A lot of people are really in their feelings. I actually caught myself crying a minute ago and I was like, why the hell am I sad? I got nothing to be sad about. And then I was like, well, I haven't seen my mom in 4 years. And yeah, I'm thinking about her today. I'm going to talk to her on the phone, but that is the reality of being an immigrant. It is expensive to see your family. And so you may, whatever, that's my biggest problem today. I'm doing okay. But this is a very charged holiday. Even if your mom was kind of great, it's just, there's so much that's going into our relationships with our mothers, a lot of mothers' relationships with themselves, maybe even grandmother, surrogate mother. There's, people may not even know their mother. There's people in foster care. And then, of course, there's also this. 58% of women in prison are mothers to minor children. Of those women, most are single. Hundreds of births take place in prison and jails every year, often with the baby immediately separated from the parent after birth. Families belong together, not separated by prison bars. And also, remember, over half the women in prison say they have suffered domestic violence. 53% of those women experience child abuse themselves. 84% of women in prison are serving a sentence for non-violent crime. So on this somewhat emotionally charged or very emotionally charged day. So today, I hope you are all taking care of yourself and whatever big feelings may be coming up or maybe not at all, and supporting the people in your life. And I see this as with everything going on in the world. I love this energy of what women are doing, especially to support each other, as more and more are tired of men making their lives harder, especially the men who are parenting, who are the sperm donor. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. And thank you, Patreon people, for you are why I'm able to keep doing this. Please join Patreon if you want extra content, watch parties, lives, travel content, personal stories, all that stuff. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't, notifications if you want to see my stuff regularly, comment, share, all that stuff. It helps a lot. It helps get this into the algorithm. And let me know if you heard the comment song. Paris Metro art song. You got all this pretty stuff while you're walking down to the subway. It's kind of crazy, especially because this is 7 flights of stairs down to take the subway. But you know what? At least they entertain you. There is an elevator on the upper floor, but I'm like, no, fuck it, I'll take the stairs, because why not? I need some exercise, but going up, well, it's another story. But you know what? The other side is prettier, but I was having a hard time breathing, so this is what you get, the not as pretty side of the crazy long subway stairs. I swear, y'all, it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and never ends. But you know what? You eat so much cheese and crap that you maybe need a walk to digest it. They call it a digestive walk here. Anyway, the Paris Metro art song is beautiful. I hope you appreciate it. But The downside is it smells like piss everywhere. Join my Patreon for more Paris content and more.